Hey guys, it's Rachel here, and today I'm going to be filming for you guys a video all about my non-fiction book obsession right now. I am really into non-fiction books right now, and I'm not totally sure why, but lately I've just really been enjoying reading them, especially listening to them. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks that are non-fiction. I think that the audiobook reason is just because most of the time the author narrates their own audiobooks. So I tend to enjoy that more, but even then I'm still really enjoying reading nonfiction right now. I'm not sure where this came from. I've just really been enjoying just reading something real. Not that I don't enjoy fiction, not that I don't enjoy what I normally read, but right now I'm just really enjoying things that are just real to me, just reading real stories from real people, realistic things, and I'm really enjoying that. And so today I'm going to share with you guys the nonfiction books that I currently own and the ones that I have really been enjoying. I'm not going to tell you guys my obvious ones, the ones that I've already read that I talk about all the time, like any of the books by Mindy Kaling or Tina Fey or Amy Poehler. This is mostly going to be nonfiction that pertains to like health things or pertaining to life and whatnot. So I'm going to share with you guys the books that I currently own that are nonfiction. And I also would love for you guys to let me know down below any nonfiction books that you guys really enjoy. I especially want to read more nonfiction as it pertains to psychology, like dark psychology. Also, I really enjoy reading ones that have to do with like really interesting diseases, medical nonfiction. I think that's really interesting. So if you guys have any recommendations for that, please let me know down below. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the nonfiction books that I currently own. So the first nonfiction book that I currently own that I'm actually reading right now is going to be Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson. As you guys know, I read Furiously Happy last year and I absolutely loved it. I think it was my favorite book of the year, and so I am currently reading/listening to this one. I am at this point 124 pages into it, and I'm just really enjoying this. I really like Jenny Lawson. I think that she's hilarious. I think that she puts her point across very well. This one is not so much about her anxiety or her depression. This is more like her actual life living in a small town, also her high school experience and her experience with getting married. I'm really enjoying this one though. I'm hoping to finish this one up at the beginning of this week so that I can have this in my January wrap up. The next nonfiction book that I currently own is going to be Quiet by Susan Cain. This is The Power of Introverts in a World That Cannot Stop Talking. Now, most people would say that I am an extroverted person. I have no problem fitting in places, but realistically, when I take all the tests, I'm actually more of an introverted person playing off as an extroverted person. I prefer to do things on my own. I prefer to be alone for the most part, and although in my job I have to be very boisterous, I have to be outgoing, I have to talk to a whole lot of people because I'm a leader, I'm in management, I still prefer being in the company of myself. And this book was talked about quite a bit like 2 years ago, and I picked this one up because I think that I would really enjoy this one. I've heard kind of mixed things about this one, but I'm still hoping that I'm going to really enjoy this one. I obviously have not read this yet, but I am quite looking forward to it. The next nonfiction book that I own is one that I just picked up not too long ago, and that's going to be The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. I've been seeing this book everywhere and I am really interested in it. I'm really wanting to declutter. I'm really wanting to get rid of things, not because I feel like I want to be like a minimalist and get rid of everything, but because I feel like I have too much stuff. I have too much clutter, and so I'm really interested into seeing what this book is about. This is probably going to be a slow read for me, and I may actually listen to this one on the audiobook because I think that it would be really good for me to listen to this, but this is the next one. I'm going to be picking this one up very, very soon. The next one is also one that I recently picked up, and that's going to be The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. I picked this one up actually today, so this I have not hauled yet, but I had a subscriber tell me that the life-changing magic of tidying up may not be for me, may not be for everybody, but that she says that the tips in the Happiness Project may be better suited for my tastes if I feel that the life-changing magic of tidying up doesn't do what I need for it to do for me. So this is going to be why I spent a year trying to sing in the morning, clean my closets, fight right, read Aristotle, and generally have more fun. I have heard of this, but I haven't heard anybody really talking about it. So I'm quite curious to how I'm going to feel about it. I probably will listen to this one on an audiobook as well, just because I feel like I'm going to really enjoy it. The next one is one that I also picked up recently and I've already read, and it's going to be Brain on Fire, My Month of Madness by Susanna Cahalan. I really enjoyed this book. It was so fascinating, and that's why I say I really want to read more nonfiction as it pertains to the medical field and diseases and illnesses, just because I think it's so fascinating. I really enjoyed this one. I'm not going to talk to you guys too much about it because it's going to be in my wrap up for the month of January, but I really enjoyed this book, and this was one of the first books that I read this year, and actually I think this was my first book of the year. Yeah, this one I made a whole video about it, but this was my first book of the year, and I'm so glad that it was nonfiction, and I really enjoyed this. The next book I have is also going to be a book that I have already read, and that's going to be The Opposite of Loneliness, Essays and Stories by Marina Keegan. Now, I read this one, I think I read it last year, and I really enjoyed this. If you guys didn't know who Marina Keegan was, she was a Yale graduate, and 2 weeks after graduating she died tragically in a car accident, and I read this one and I found myself really emotional while reading this. I think it was a mixture of the fact that I knew that she had died, but it's so sad seeing so much potential I don't want to say go to waste, but it's so sad seeing so much potential not ever... I find it's really hard for me to explain what I'm trying to say, but I feel like you guys know what I'm trying to say. It's so sad that she could have done so much. She was going places. She had so much going on, and I'm so glad that she was able to have a book published with her stories and everything after her death, so that she can live on. I really enjoyed this one. I tabbed it multiple times. This is one of my favorite books ever. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like this one appeals to a lot of people. This not only has like nonfiction, like her stories in it, like stuff about her, but this also has her writings in it, her own fiction stories in there. I really enjoyed this one, and I really recommend this one. And finally, the final physical copy or physical nonfiction book that I own is going to be Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. She's the same author that wrote Let's Pretend This Never Happened. This is a funny book about horrible things. This one dives actually more deeply into her anxiety and her depression and trichotillomania and all that stuff. So this follows more into that, and I really enjoyed this one. This one is more of her married life and stuff with her children and stuff in pertaining to her writing and her blog. I quite enjoyed this one. I think that this one would also appeal to a lot of people. I know that a lot of people have been reading it, and it's well deserved. This is one of my favorite books ever. This is my favorite book of last year. This was really fantastic. Anyways, those are all the physical copies of nonfiction books that I currently own. Like I said, if you have any recommendations, you can go ahead and let me know down below. Another thing that has to do with nonfiction and me is that I really like listening to audiobooks, like I said, and Scribd. And I know I talk about Scribd all the time, but I'm telling you guys, Scribd is fantastic, especially if you don't want an Audible account. Scribd is a really good like alternative. It has thousands and thousands of audiobooks on it, and the subscription is only $8.99 a month, and you can have up to 6 credits at a time, and it's fantastic. It's like half the price of Audible, but you can read thousands of ebooks, comic books, all that kind of stuff. It's really fantastic, and I love to listen to my nonfiction in audiobook format, and Scribd has a huge selection of nonfiction Audible books, and I love it. I love it. I love listening to them. One that I'm going to be listening to, like right now I'm listening to Let's Pretend This Never Happened on audiobook on Scribd. I'm also going to be listening to My Magical Year of Thinking. I'm going to be listening to a whole bunch on Scribd, so I highly recommend. You don't even have to use my referral. I will just leave the Scribd website down below, but if you subscribe, if you use my referral code, you will get a month free, or 2 months free. But I highly recommend Scribd if you want to listen to or read nonfiction books, just because it's so fantastic. I've gone through tons of nonfiction on Scribd. It's great. They're not sponsoring me or anything like that. I just genuinely really liked Scribd. Anyways, like I said, if you guys have any recommendations down below for audiobooks or just in general any nonfiction books that you guys really enjoyed, I would really appreciate it. But other than that, guys, thanks so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.